Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of the Living World of Darkness. This evening we find our Avenger, Juno, currently standing just inside the door of what used to be a rather nondescript bar, somewhat awestruck at the changes since the short time that Juno was there last. Noticing the changes, and Juno is scratching her head a bit and sort of muttering under her breath along the lines of, "So I guess I wasn't enough." A slight tinge of some unfounded jealousy perhaps going through the hunter's mind. But all the same, Juno pulls out her cell phone and sends a text off to a certain Bruja, just simply stating, "I'm at the place, it's different now."
A couple of minutes later, after you send the text, you get one of the there's two bouncers stood outside the door. Um, they're both wearing motorcycle waistcoats, like cuts. They're black with green trimming. And they come up to you and they say, the boss says to go on up.
Juno does a little more than just sort of a chin raise and a nod and makes her way through the area, stopping to admire the scenery once or twice before finally making her way upstairs. She just very gently raps her knuckles on the door softly a few times before actually opening the door, considering that perhaps she is beyond the point of having to ask before entering a room, at least with its current owner. But she steps into what used to be a living area.
Inside is, you can hear music. It's, The Clash, London Calling. There's a jukebox. There's a very large, very um, camp and gaudy sofa, a coffee table with empty bottles of beer on it. It's the same. You can tell it's the same room, but the inside's been decorated and changed. It's now it now look, and there's a window that looks down onto the lower floor. Set behind the couch where the bed used to be, and Ghost is fiddling with the new jukebox, pressing the keys. She's got a cigarette in her mouth and the ashes trailing onto the floor where she's not really been paying attention to it for the last couple of minutes.
Juno shuts the door behind her and makes her way over towards the window, looking down at the floor below, and then looks over towards Ghost with a raised brow. "Well, this is certainly new."
Ghost looks up at you very slowly, as if she's taking a moment to try and work out whether you're really there or not, before taking another drag on the cigarette and then stubbing it out in the overfull ashtray on the table. Shit, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, no, I've been working with a few of our higher end clients, and the money's been good, so I kind of had to focus.
Ghost, she sort of frowns but nods, understanding the concept of taking money where you can.
I mean, don't take it too personally as she sees Ghost frowning. Just, I wanted to be able to get out of here, just really wasn't able.
Well, what do you think of the club?
It's different, a little bit higher key than what I'm used to in my leisure activities, but all in all, it's got a certain charm to it, I guess.
He smiles. You, gotta make some money, and, this is as good a place as any. For now.
Juno pauses and narrows one eye with raising the brow on the other. Did, did you just ask me to start dancing for you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was being general.
As in,
As in, you know, everybody's gotta make money. It may not be the classiest place in the world, but pulls in people and I make some cash out of it.
Juno takes a few steps towards Ghost and slips a hand in Ghost's back pocket before looking at the jukebox. I don't suppose you're one of the dancers here on certain nights.
Not unless I wanted to clear the joint.
Are you really that bad at dancing?
Pretty bad.
You seemed like you were pretty light on your feet the last time we had, we spent time together anyway.
You surprised how quickly I move when people are throwing punches at me.
But put you in some stiletto heels and on a stage around a pole and your two left feet, hmm?
Let's just say it's not me.
Now, there's many masks that we can all put on. I wouldn't sell yourself short.
She moves away from the jukebox and looks over to the fridge that's still there. Says, would you like a drink?
Yeah, sure, I would love one.
She goes in and there's all sorts of high. It's got the higher quality alcohol in there. Yeah, the gold standard stuff. She roots around just whiskey, scotch, vodka,
Rum.
rum.
Just rum on the rocks would be lovely.
I don't know what I'm indicating. I'm not. She reaches into the I don't know what I'm indicating. I'm not on camera. Reaches into the fridge and pulls out some rum and pours you a glass. And then pours herself a glass of vodka. And takes out a it's got above the fridge is a little tray that's got what looks like, you know, those test tube shots you get in nightclubs sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's got some of those in there, and she opens one of those, tips it into the vodka, and then mixes it with some Coke. The contents of the test tube look dark, sanguine, you might say.
Juno watches the concoction being made, and there's a slight flinch comes across her face. But I'll do a little bit of a subterfuge roll to see if she can't hide that. And that. There we go. Not a bad roll. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Okay. Ghost sits down. Sips
Juno
another drink.
will join her, sort of draping her legs across Juno's lap as she takes up the glass and sighs as she rests her head back on the armrest. So what was this thing about you getting all burnt up?
Well, did you ever hear of that restaurant in town called the Boiler Room?
Not that I can recall, no.
It's a fancy restaurant in Manhattan. Anyway, I was looking for somebody that went missing. Uh, One of my contacts told me that he was last seen in the Boiler Room, so I went to check it out, and someone had booby trapped it. The whole place caught on fire.
Well, I was half expecting to come here and see sort of a half-charred version of yourself.
It was a couple of weeks ago now.
Well, it's good that you're on the mend, at least.
Yeah, it wasn't too serious. I managed to make it out.
Only now just getting over the last encounter I had with fire. So how is your investigation going?
Ghost shrugs. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. More bodies. Not a lot of clues.
I was hoping that you guys would be able to take care of this, but it seems like lots of people are dying.
It's tricky. We're... I'm pretty sure it's kindred, whoever this person is. There's no way that a human could do the sort of things that are being done to these bodies.
What do you know about the victims?
First one was a truck driver. Two of them were members of the orchestra in a performance of some opera. Ghost, you can see Ghost sort of squinting as she tries to remember the name of the opera, but she was bored during that meeting and can't really remember.
So it's not targeted then? Anything you can tell?
Not, I mean, that's what I've been trying to work out. I can't really get a link between the victims. It's more to do with how the crimes are being committed. They're doing it like like a song, like making them into musical instruments and stuff. It's kind of fucking weird. I'm not the sharpest tool in the box. I'm not the best person to ask about this investigation. They just call me up when I need something punched.
I'm starting to wonder. Maybe I should rethink the whole not getting involved thing. Now that more people are dying.
It's not just the one victim either. I mean, this serial killer's her last trick was trying to burn down the whole church full of people. Luckily, my friend Limey was there and he managed to save people that were inside.
That's good.
He's a good guy.
I don't know. It looks last couple times I've seen him, it looks like he wants to push my skull into a wall until his hand hits the wall.
Uh, well, yeah, he doesn't know that we still meet up. He doesn't trust you, and I don't blame him.
Juno raises a brow as she drinks from her glass and sort of smirks at Ghost. You don't blame him, do you?
The only way you get to be old in this sort of life, as I'm sure you know, is by being paranoid.
Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? Does that mean you're still paranoid about me?
Ghost tips her head back on the chair and sips from the drink again. But she sort of shrugs her shoulders a little bit.
You've gotten to know me better than most people do. Or at least most people have in the past few years. And you still don't trust me, do you?
Don't really trust anybody. It's part and parcel of being Ghost. She does air quotes.
And yet, how many times have you fallen asleep next to me now?
Twice that I can remember.
Have you woken up any
Yeah.
worse for wear than when you went to sleep?
No.
Juno's sort of furrowing her brow a bit, looking slightly agitated.
I'm gonna roll a perception empathy. Now that I have the empathy skill. Woo! What's
And
it?
what are we rolling to see?
Just perception and empathy. I want to see like her what sort of trying to read her expression, read her mood a little bit.
Hmm.
Only one success. Ignore that. I don't need to look.
Let me see what I got here. Manipulation and expression. Subterfuge. I guess it would be subterfuge. Ooh. That's not good.
You rolled one.
Juno seems. She doesn't seem like she's angry that you're calling her trustworthiness into question. That doesn't seem to be bothering her. It almost seems like she's annoyed that progress was seemingly made, and now that doesn't seem to be the case. Almost in the chance of getting close to somebody. Well, you only got one success, so yeah, she seems annoyed. More annoyed than hurt or angry.
Uh,
Look,
Ghost sort of isn't sure what to say in the sort of typical way that she normally isn't sure what to say around Juno.
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what more I can really do.
There's nothing you can do. It's just, there's always going to be a little bit of an edge. So, it's the nature of the beast.
Well, Juno sort of furrows her brow a bit and kind of looks down, looking at her glass. And my line of work and what I do, you don't let yourself get close to someone if they don't trust you, if you don't trust them. Just saying it is what it is, that bothers me a lot.
And let me show you something. Ghost gets up and
Juno
she
will
goes.
move so she can and picks up her glass and very quickly downs it before setting it on the table.
She sort of very lightly sort of brushes your shin as she goes past. And when she stands up, she goes over to the corner of the room. And there's a backpack there. You've seen it before around her bedroom. She digs in the backpack, pulls out a folder. There's loads of bits of paper in there. Some of them look quite old. Um, Letters, what look like some things that look like bills, things like that. And in the back of the folder, she pulls out a photograph and she brings it over to Juno.
Juno will sort of look at the photo, going it over. What does she see?
It's a pretty old photo. Uh, you might have seen photos like it of your parents, sort of 1970s-ish, late 60s, early 70s style photography. That's the sort of condition that the photograph's in. It's Ghost with her long hair, as you've seen there. Stood on the side of a road, leaning against a motorbike, with her arm around a girl that looks somewhat like you, actually. She's got dreads, black dreads, and tattoos. Um, but uh, yeah, it's quite an old photograph and quite faded. And on the back it says "Me and Lissa, 1971."
Juno looks up to Ghost. Andrea, I no idea.
You see, the last time that I trusted somebody, I ended up in a mortuary tray. Literally.
What happened?
She was working for the other side. She tricked me. And like, we were friends before we started hanging around with the vampires. But, yeah, she tricked me into thinking that she was genuine and lured me in my. She thinks about the word. The man who made me into a trap set him on fire in front of me and killed him. And her friends killed quite a few people. It was my fault.
Juno sort of sighs heavily and walks to Ghost and very tentatively this time reaches out for for Ghost's hand and just observes her.
She doesn't flinch away from you or anything. She looks. I'm not going to bother to make you make a perception check. She looks kind of when you are still annoyed or upset about something, but doing your best to control your emotions in that situation. You can see her eyes are hardened, and she tries to avoid looking at the image. But she
I'm gonna roll a little perception empathy of my own.
okay.
See how well this goes. Spend a willpower point on it, because why not? 2 successes.
Okay, what are you trying to find out?
Just trying to work out exactly how Ghost feels about this situation between the parallels between her and the person in the picture.
Um, you definitely get the feeling that it's still very painful for her to talk about or think about. And it's built up a resilience. You can almost feel that resilience towards letting anybody particularly close, romantically or otherwise. Especially in the situation where she knows what you are.
Juno will sort of loop one of her fingers into Ghost's belt loop and sort of pull her close. And very, very softly just wrap herself around Ghost and sigh heavily. I can't promise you that things will always be good. If you were to turn into something that hurt people, I'd have to do what I have to do, but she lets out another heavy sigh. I don't want to hurt you, and I do care about you. And we're rolling them dice with a
You're
willpower
rolling the
point.
dice as well.
Willpower, don't fail me now, and if I have to, I will burn all the destiny I have.
I'm gonna roll willpower as well. I really want to believe this.
I know. Really
Well, that's
want you to
a
believe this.
appalling roll, so I'm gonna believe you, probably.
No, that's 1 success. Yeah, I'm gonna roll destiny on this one.
I got 1 success, I guess. Because I overspent at willpower.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got 2 successes.
And I'm rolling more willpower on this because this has got to go through. How many points in destiny do I have before I keep? How much am I going to burn out? All of it. If this doesn't go well. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. So yeah, Juno actually seems to be trembling and fighting back tears, it would seem, on this one. And she actually seems like she's almost blushing at this point. And she seems very vulnerable in Ghost's arms at that point. And there doesn't seem to be a hint of deception there whatsoever.
Okay. You feel. I mean, obviously, Ghost doesn't breathe. Vampires don't breathe, but there's sort of like a drop in her chest, like when you exhale. It releases the tension in her shoulders a little bit. And she reaches her arms up and lightly strokes Juno's hair. It will. I'm sure it'll be fine, kid. She runs her thumb along Juno's forehead, just above her eyebrow.
Jim just remains quiet for a fair bit before finally just placing a very small kiss on Ghost's neck and then sort of looking at her eye to eye. If I decided to help you, would you be able to protect me?
Yeah. You can see an out of character thumbs up for Juno's manipulation there. Because
Out of
Ghost
character, feeling so terrible.
is Ghost's sort of weakness is a damsel in distress. So you can see sort of a flicker of softness. She says, "Of course I will."
Your friend Limey is going to know who I am and what I am. And I don't know if it would be better if you knew about this or not. Because if I just show up, he's going to blow my cover completely, and then I have a multitude of your kind looking at me like I'm a threat or a meal. I'm not really sure. And all that's standing between me and them is just one of you.
Well, there's an easy way to solve it. Limey's the only person that knows about you. Knows who you are, at least. There's a way that he would trust you. But I can understand why it's something you wouldn't be willing to do. But, we can see.
What does it entail?
You drinking my blood. I'm
Juno
not.
doesn't, pull away from Ghost at all, and she still seems to be very attached uh, to Ghost at the moment. Sort of maybe hands resting on Ghost's hips and that sort of thing, but she quirks her brow a bit and sort of does a double take. Drinking your blood, what? Are you trying to make me into one of you?
No, no, it's not. That's not how it works. Did you ever see that show, True Blood?
I've never bought the movie channels.
Well, basically, it's kind of like you drink a vampire's blood, and it can heal you if you're wounded, and it also gives you a bond to the vampire. This is the difficult part. See, the reason that Limey would trust you if you did that is that once you are bound to the vampire, you can't physically hurt them.
Huh. But this is going to sound odd, but does that mean that I'd be a slave to your will? I mean, and she kind of points back between the two of them, would everything between us just be superficial at that point?
I mean, you wouldn't be a slave, you still have your own free will.
Well, I mean, not that I plan to or anything, but you saying that I can't hurt you. I mean, what if you became a threat, or... I mean...
Oh, believe me, if I started becoming a threat, you wouldn't be the only person gunning for me. My society has rules too.
I would be hoping that if you became a threat, that there'd be a way to deal with you outside of, well, the nasty parts.
There's no real chance of me becoming a threat. It's as simple as that. I don't kill people. Not unless I really, really, really have to. Sometimes you can't avoid it. Like if they're shooting at you or gonna set you on fire, that kind of thing. But as a general rule, nope. Never been into it. Trying to not be such a dick like I was when I was human.
You being a dick? Couldn't imagine.
She's smirking awkwardly, but when you say that, she grins. Oh, yeah.
Well, I just... Let's hope that this doesn't become tainted. But I'll trust you on this one. Who knows, maybe that's enough, and she places a hand over Ghost's heart. Just maybe enough to make you really feel something in there. Just don't make me regret it, alright? There are laws that govern who I am too, and I'm
Just
pretty sure others like me would be very happy to kill me if I became a problem.
would they be able to find out?
I don't think so. I'm sure that this is not the first time that something like this has happened. There are those that are like me, in a manner of speaking, who aren't all just death and destruction, if you catch my meaning. We come in all shapes and sizes and of all temperaments. I'm a bit more of a martial hothead, but there are those out there that would very gladly deal with you. Probably be very interested in you, and I'm sure that there are some out there that would pity you or weigh you on things that you've done rather than what you are. At least straight right away, it took me to getting to know you first.
Don't doubt it. You don't need to drink a lot of the blood, it's only a taste.
Well,
But,
who knows? Maybe I want to.
Ghost frowns at that slightly. She can't really believe that anyone would want to drink blood willingly.
There's definitely a look on Juno's face like she's trying to sort of alleviate any sort of tension. That sort of like looking at a burnt casserole and looking at somebody who you really care about that made it for you, and trying to be like, yeah, it looks great.
If it makes it easier for you, I can put it in your drink.
How many times have I let you bite me now?
Couple.
Not necessarily too squeamish about that sort of thing anymore. Especially after chainsawing something in half. That blood really doesn't bother me anymore.
The upside to drinking vampire blood is that it doesn't make you stronger.
Well,
Maybe it'll be a bit of a double benefit, I don't know.
knowing my run of luck in the past, it probably would just mean that I'm closer to you, but probably not stronger. Doesn't seem like that's how it works with me. Ever.
But this ghost bites, brings her wrist up to her mouth and bites it. See her fangs exposed. Then she sort of gingerly holds her wrist out towards you.
Juno will look at the wrist and she very gently cups the wrist or the arm, and just really quickly here, just checking out a. Okay. Just wanted to see something. Just checking a real quick reference here. Okay.
Okay.
Looks like I'm gonna have to make a willpower roll on this one.
Okay.
I believe that's 7 for Juno. No, 8. Ooh. Nice, nice, nice. Alright. 8 dice. No points, but. Whew, thank God. That would have been close. 2 successes. So Juno places her mouth to Ghost's wrist and drinks, and Drinks actually about 2 blood points worth before finally kind of pulling her mouth away and kind of gasping a bit. A little bit of blood sort of trickles down her lips along her lines of her mouth. She sort of, as she does all this, she clutches on to Ghost very tightly.
When you pull away, you see a look in Ghost's eyes that's now become somewhat familiar to you. It's a controlled but slightly lustful, hungry look.
She looks to Ghost and she sort of bites her lip before pulling Ghost close in for a kiss, and a very lustful one at that.
Ghost reciprocates the kiss. She lifts Juno off her feet and sort of pushes her back into the nearby wall.
Juno, of course, will wrap her legs around Ghost's waist and sort of deepens the whole experience. And just opens her eyes and pulls away for just a minute and looks over at the door. Everything's up here is still private, right?
Yeah.
Juno will just smirk at that, and I think here we can fade to black and call it a scene.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.